binge-watching everyone else's curated glam lives. Some people actually think their lack of happiness is just because they don't have endless stacks of cash. Little do they know, the capacity to perceive happiness is a skill in itself, one that never depends on external material conditions or social environments. The theory of hedonic adaptation in psychology has long proven that the pleasure brought by material wealth has a strictly limited shelf life. People quickly adjust to the satisfaction of wealth, but this kind of joy cannot sustain itself before numbness creeps in, causing that initial surge of happiness to crash right back to baseline. On the flip side, the ability to perceive happiness is an internal quality where an individual actively captures beauty and experiences emotional value, which serves as the ultimate core source of well-being. Without this capability, even if you are handed a solid gold brick, life remains completely meaningless. If you are currently drowning in anxiety and confusion, slowly losing your passion and faith in life, you might want to dive into this heartwarming French classic, as it just might clear the fog in your heart and help you find the life answers you are searching for. Not long ago, a young, single mother moves into an old apartment building with her daughter, raising little Elsa all on her own, but constantly neglecting her due to a hectic work schedule. Late every night, a bored out of her mind Elsa can only bounce a ball repeatedly in her room, killing the long, lonely hours all by herself. However, this jarring thumping noise echoes clearly through the floorboards downstairs, completely disrupting the peaceful life of a 70-year-old elderly man named Julian. Early the next morning, Julian goes to a diner downstairs to eat, where he happens to spot Elsa sitting all by herself. Her mother forgets to leave her the keys, leaving her stranded here for a full hour. Julian watches this scene quietly, initially wanting to mind his own business, but seeing how helpless the little girl looks, a spark of compassion ultimately stirs in his heart, prompting him to take her back to his apartment for the time being. Julian is a widower in his 70s, whose sole pleasure in life is dedicating himself to studying butterflies and collecting butterfly specimens. Staring at the butterfly specimens from all over the world neatly displayed on the wall, Elsa gets completely captivated and loses herself in the sight. Julian has a standoffish personality and hates socializing, but seeing the pure curiosity and adoration flashing in Elsa's eyes, his icy expression gradually softens, and he actually starts introducing the process of a caterpillar breaking out of its cocoon to become a butterfly with genuine interest. Elsa nods along half-understandingly, yet she keeps popping out of the box mind-boggling questions. But right after the words leave his mouth, Julian suddenly remembers he has urgent business to handle outside, immediately killing his enthusiasm for the lecture, while repeatedly warning Elsa not to wander around to avoid startling the live butterflies fluttering about. Subsequently, he tracks down the landlord, asking them to keep an eye on Elsa. But right at this moment, Elsa notices a door glowing with a strange, warm light, which seems to hide an untold secret. This intense curiosity drives her to push the door open. The moment she steps into the butterfly greenhouse, Elsa is completely blown away by the sight before her, with colorful butterflies dancing all around her, as if she just stumbled straight into a fairy tale world. She looks around in sheer excitement, completely oblivious to the fact that several precious butterflies have already slipped out of the room through the gaps. Julian returns home and sees the butterflies scattering everywhere, flying into an absolute rage instantly. He grabs Elsa by the arm and ushers her out the door without giving her a chance to explain. Elsa is deeply reluctant to leave, but she can only head back to her own apartment, feeling completely crushed and alone. That night, as the entire apartment building drifts into a deep sleep, a fast-asleep Julian is woken up yet again by the racket coming from upstairs. The next morning, Elsa arrives at the bus stop early to wait. Her mother promised to take her out for fun, but she waits from dawn until late into the night, never seeing her mother come home, only receiving a phone call instead. With all her high expectations crashing down, though she feels incredibly wronged and heartbroken, Elsa seems completely used to just accepting things as they are. Walking back home that night, Elsa accidentally overhears Julian chatting with the landlord, catching a piece of news that gets her incredibly hyped. There is a rare butterfly named Isabel, one of the most prestigious species in Europe, which only makes a fleeting appearance around the spring equinox on the Vercors Plateau in the Alps. Early the very next morning, Julien is heading into the mountains to search for it. Time flies, and the next day arrives. Julien starts up his car, drives out of the Paris city limits, and heads straight toward the southern Alps. After driving for several hours, the vehicle pulls into a mountain service area where Julien gets out to stretch his legs, only to suddenly catch Elsa sneaking out of the trunk. Julien is both shocked and furious, harshly slamming her for being so reckless as he insists on calling her mother, fully intending to send her straight back to Paris immediately. Elsa, however, claims her mother does not have a cell phone, and as for her whereabouts, she is completely clueless.
Un copain. Elle a dit je vais chez un copain.
Julien is instantly left speechless, his boiling anger completely swapped for pure helplessness. After they quickly grab a bite to eat, Julien makes up his mind to hand Elsa over to the local police so they can arrange shelter for her and track down her mother. But the moment Elsa hears about going to the cops, a terrified look washes over her face. Seeing that Julien remains completely unmoved, Elsa actually starts turning his own logic against him with witty comebacks. Looking at her pitiful state, Julien ultimately cannot bring himself to be ruthless, leaving him no choice but to helplessly compromise. However, before they set off, he lays down some incredibly strict rules for Elsa. Elsa nods frantically in agreement, and just like that, this unexpected road trip officially kicks off. The car cruises onto a winding mountain road, flanked by dense forests and rolling meadows, with the morning mist wrapping around the peaks. Elsa is absolutely hyped about everything, chattering away with non-stop questions. Aside from every single blade of grass and tree in the mountains, Elsa is also highly intrigued by Julien himself.
T'as des enfants, toi?
Ça ne te regarde pas.
Et une femme, t'as pas de femme?
Les femmes, j'en ai eu 7. Je les ai toutes tuées et je les ai brûlées dans le poêle à charbon.
C'est quoi un poêle à charbon?
Un truc qui ne laisse pas de traces.
He is someone deeply set in his lone wolf ways, who enters the mountains this time solely to track down the Isabel butterfly, while hoping to score a moment of peace in the wild. But now he finds himself completely bogged down by this little chatterbox. At times, he gets so annoyed by the endless questioning that he just brushes Elsa off with the shortest, bluntest words possible. Yet before they climb the mountain, he still takes Elsa to a gear shop to pick out a pair of slip-resistant, heavy-duty hiking boots for her. Arriving at their destination deep in the woods, Julien parks the car safely, swiftly packs his hiking gear, and steps onto the winding forest trail. Shouldering her tiny backpack, Elsa skips along right behind him, completely fascinated by everything around her. But pretty soon, her footsteps noticeably start to drag. Julien barks at her to hurry up, even though his own pace has already slowed down significantly to match hers. While he constantly complains that Elsa is noisy, troublesome, and a little deadweight messing up his plans, his actions are actually loaded with secret care and tenderness. Take lunchtime, for instance. When Elsa mumbles about how she absolutely hates eating potatoes and tomatoes, Julien impatiently lectures her for being a picky brat, yet he still swaps his lunch with hers anyway. But this is definitely not mindless spoiling. Whenever Elsa gets totally glued to her handheld game console, he goes out of his way to block her path, forcing her to look up. As evening falls, they set up camp on an open meadow nestled in the mountains. Meanwhile, Elsa takes advantage of Julien being fast asleep to quietly slide out his phone's SIM card. Behind this seemingly bratty stunt lies her deeply vulnerable, humble craving for love and companionship. She is completely sick of the despair of being repeatedly ditched by her mother to guard an empty room, where every promised hangout always ends up being replaced by a lame apology. And Julien happens to be the only warmth she has managed to touch throughout her long stretch of loneliness. She is absolutely terrified that if any line of communication remains open, she will instantly be shipped back to that dark, neglected isolation, forced to taste the bitterness of abandonment all over again. So she straight up cuts off any escape route that could send her back, using this incredibly childish yet stubborn method to hold on to this rare companionship. Little does she know, this single move of hers will land Julien right at the top of the prime suspect list. After discovering that Elsa is missing, her mother panics and calls the cops, who follow the final trail straight to Julien, a man known to have regular contact with Elsa, who also happened to head into the mountains all by himself. His standoffish persona as someone obsessed with collecting butterflies makes it incredibly easy for him to be labeled as a potential danger. So the police quickly lock Julien in as their primary suspect and issue a warrant for his arrest. Meanwhile, deep in the mountains, Julien remains completely oblivious to all of this, searching for the Isabel butterfly while listening to Elsa's weird, random ramblings. They forge ahead all the way into the depths of the mountain forest. Julian's sharp eyes scan the clusters of flowers and leaves throughout the woods, meticulously identifying every single butterfly. Elsa follows closely behind him, occasionally drawn away by the charming wild blossoms along the path, and sometimes unable to resist picking a few to clutch tightly in her hand. Julian always calls out to stop her just in time, terrified that she might get hopelessly lost in the complex wilderness. Before long, they cross paths with a couple who are skydiving. The guy is an avid skydiver, but for the girl beside him, it is her very first time, leaving her face flooded with a mix of intense nerves and forced ease. Yet, completely ignoring the girl's absolute terror, the guy stubbornly drags her along as he leaps into the void, all to prove her love for him. Witnessing this entire scene, Julian turns to Elsa by his side and slowly delivers a profound truth that cuts straight to the core. When love demands proof, trust vanishes, and without trust, love naturally ceases to exist. Elsa cannot grasp such a deep and complex concept, as the philosophical debate over trust and love is far too obscure for a 7-year-old to comprehend. But she sees with absolute clarity that the girl is clutching the parachute straps for dear life, her face stark white, and her entire body trembling uncontrollably. She does not understand the complexities of emotional bonds, but she simply feels that love should never make someone feel terrified. Later on, they tread across the lush, vibrant green grass, stepping piece by piece into the deep and tranquil forest. The fresh greenery blends with the warm moisture of the soil, giving off a captivating aroma that completely refreshes the soul. Though they initially set out on this journey wrapped in their own separate loneliness, the distance between their hearts gradually shrinks without them even realizing it. Passing right through the forest, they finally arrive at a hiking rest stop. Come dinner time, a few fellow backpackers join them around the stone table. One of the men is visibly thrilled, talking up a storm and claiming he just raked in $350,000 in the stock market, his tone dripping with sheer, boastful arrogance that gets everyone else nodding along in agreement. Elsa sits on a stone bench, staring at the man without blinking once, completely baffled as to why these adults would laugh so ostentatiously over a mere string of numbers. Early the next morning, she cannot help but interrogate Julian about it. Elsa listens with half-baked understanding, pressing him on how exactly one can become rich. Julian gazes out at the cascading mountain ranges in the distance, offering the simplest yet most profound answer. Elsa still does not quite get it, continuously demanding to know what exactly a person has to do to hit the jackpot. Julian says nothing more. Some principles should never be measured by money, because doing what you love and finding peace of mind is a massive fortune in its own right. As they push even further in, they happen to stumble upon 2 wild Sika deer in an open clearing of the woods. The Sika deer lower their heads to munch on the green grass, showing absolutely no fear toward them. Elsa catches her breath and stares in absolute silence, while Julian stays right beside her to take in this gentle moment of nature together. But suddenly, a loud gunshot echoes, and the mother deer collapses instantly to the ground. 2 poachers immediately rush forward, coldly hoisting the mother deer's carcass onto their shoulders, and vanish into the thick woods without once looking back. Witnessing this scene, Julian is absolutely furious, his tone completely overflowing with resentment and contempt for such a cruel act. Meanwhile, Elsa is deeply saddened and confused, completely unable to fathom why anyone would inflict such a vicious fate upon such a gentle creature. Julian explains to her that boundless greed has stripped these people of their humanity, and the precious beauty of life should never be stolen away so cruelly. Yet, Elsa simply keeps her head down, remaining dead silent.
Tu es triste? Ben, tu sais, Elsa, la mort fait partie de la vie, mais elle ne frappe pas à la porte avant d'entrer. Alors, beaucoup de gens vivent comme s'ils avaient l'éternité devant eux, alors que personne n'est jamais sûr d'avoir le temps de finir sa phrase.
That night, Elsa snuggles close to Julian, suddenly bringing up a dream she once had in a soft voice. She dreamed of a canary trapped inside a cage, so she unlocked the cage, threw open the window, and spread her hands wide to set it free. But instead of flying away, that canary willingly chose to stay right by her side. She is just like that canary, craving freedom yet yearning to be loved, constantly wishing for a genuine warmth that requires no forcing and comes completely from the heart in a life devoid of companionship. And witnessing the poachers brutally take the mother deer's life earlier that day makes her vaguely realize a deeper lesson, that love is not about imprisonment or possession, but rather about me giving you absolute freedom and you still choosing me without hesitation. Listening to the little girl's innocent words, a wave of tenderness ripples through Julian's heart, as someone who has weathered a lifetime of hardships actually learns the true meaning of love from a child's pure dream. The following morning, they trek through a breathtaking ocean of brilliant flowers covering the hillsides, where vibrant blossoms bloom wildly and butterflies of every color flutter freely among the petals. Elsa pauses in the middle of the floral paradise, bending over to ask Julian a question with utmost seriousness. Julian pulls out a butterfly net, patiently coaching Elsa on the core essentials of catching butterflies. Clutching the net, Elsa tests the waters with extreme caution among the bushes, her intensely focused yet clumsy, adorable look causing the corners of Julian's mouth to tick upward involuntarily.
J'en ai attrapé un!
Au fond, c'est du coton du seigneur de potassium. Il va mourir sans souffrir. Quoi, qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Along the way, Elsa stays completely tight-lipped, lagging sluggishly behind Julian as her usual chatty self vanishes without a trace. And even the way she looks at the blooming hillsides turns entirely dull. After walking for a long time, she finally lifts her head. Deep down in her pure, childish heart, she absolutely cannot accept using love as an excuse to hold something captive, so she turns around and walks away without a second thought. But there is no way Julian would ever feel right letting a kid walk home all alone, so he decides to switch tactics. Scaling endless rolling mountains and cutting through deep, dark woods, after days and nights of exhaustive trekking, they finally arrive at the natural habitat of the Isabel butterfly. This butterfly has no esophagus and cannot feed, meaning all the energy it relies on for its entire life comes completely from what it accumulated during its caterpillar stage, which is why their lifespan lasts for a mere 3 days and 3 nights. And this stunningly beautiful creature only makes an appearance when night falls. As darkness gradually blankets the mountain forest, Julian pulls out a bedsheet he brought with him to set up a makeshift light trap. By the faint glow of the light, they quietly await the arrival of these spirits of the night. Under the dim light, a swarm of phototactic butterflies quickly comes fluttering in one after another. But taking a closer look, not a single one is the Isabel butterfly they are desperately searching for.
D'abord, tu me racontes une histoire.
Ah, une histoire. Je ne connais pas d'histoire.
À quoi ça sert d'être vieux si tu connais pas d'histoire?
Ultimately, Julian helplessly compromises, choosing instead to put on an impromptu shadow puppet show behind the makeshift screen using the dim light. Early the next morning, Julian opens up an umbrella and places it upside down beneath a tree, then tells Elsa to gently shake the branches. Several green caterpillars with fine white stripes roll right down the branches and into the umbrella. This happens to be the safest and most reliable way to gather butterfly larvae. However, right as they stuff the bug container into the backpack, dark clouds roll across the sky, and a mountain rainstorm hits out of nowhere. They take shelter under a massive tree, where Elsa continues to chatter away with questions, and Julian keeps patiently responding. Their quiet conversation, blending with the sound of the rain, feels exceptionally peaceful out in the wild. Pretty soon, the rain stops, and the mountain mist slowly clears, and as they look up, they suddenly spot a herd of dairy cows casually grazing on a nearby hillside. The cowbells jingle occasionally, sounding incredibly crisp in the quiet woods. Following the herd, they actually wind up walking all the way to the farm owner's house. The farmer warmly welcomes these 2 guests brought to his doorstep by the cattle. As luck would have it, today happens to be the farmer's birthday. Inside, the house is filled with a cozy warmth. The farmer's wife and children gather around the table to offer him their most heartfelt wishes. Witnessing this harmonious, heartwarming scene, Elsa's clear eyes are filled to the brim with intense envy. Having lacked this kind of family warmth since childhood, looking at the joyful scene before her leaves her heart completely yearning for it. Though Julian remains completely silent on the side, watching the farmer laughing and talking with his family causes a wave of bitterness, buried for many years, to surge in his heart. It turns out he used to have a son as well. His son is incredibly handsome and outgoing, loves sports, and frequently travels the world to explore the unknown. But later on, a sudden onset of severe bipolar disorder traps this high-spirited young man. He is tortured by the illness day in and day out, his once vibrant self fading away until his life is permanently fixed at the age of 28. He previously sees the Isabel butterfly in an album and deeply wishes for his father to bring one back for him to see. Julian makes a solemn promise, but he ultimately fails to fulfill it before his son leaves this world. And this becomes an unshakable obsession that he can never let go of for the rest of his life. So for the next several decades, Julian enters the deep mountains year after year, stubbornly searching for the Isabel butterfly, all just to make up for his shortcomings toward his son. The following morning, Julian and Elsa bid farewell to the farmer and head straight back to their campsite. That very night, they finally cross paths with the Isabel butterfly. Julian trembles all over with pure excitement, as decades of trekking across mountains and non-stop yearning finally pay off at this exact moment. He holds his breath and inches closer quietly. Elsa's heart is filled with pure ecstasy and joy, yet she completely blows everything because she gets way too excited. Early the next morning, Julian snaps awake from his sleep, only to suddenly discover that Elsa has vanished without a trace. He screams Elsa's name over and over again on the rugged mountain paths, but fails to get any response whatsoever. Just as he is about to plunge into absolute despair, a faint voice suddenly echoes. Julian follows the sound all the way, finally discovering a hidden cave. Julian is burning with anxiety as he sprints toward the farmer's house at top speed, but only the farmer's mother, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease, is at home, making it impossible for her to offer him any help. Left with absolutely no other choice, he can only drive the farmer's truck and rush to the police station to seek rescue. Little does he know, the police have already issued a warrant for his arrest long ago. Ultimately, the police deploy helicopters to launch a mountain search and rescue operation, successfully finding Elsa trapped inside the cave. Meanwhile, Julian is ruthlessly taken away by the police. However, following subsequent investigation and verification, this massive misunderstanding is quickly cleared up, leading to Julian's release, and he goes on to live together with Elsa and her mother. In psychology, the value of emotion lies in mutual confirmation, because silent love can never be received, making it completely pointless. In reality, far too many people suffer from emotional aphasia, where endless giving personalities and self-sacrifices end up pushing their closest loved ones further away simply because they are reluctant to speak up or do not know how to express themselves. A burning, "I love you," or a gentle, "I understand you," serves as the absolute key to making love truly land. Later on, Julian and Elsa head over to the greenhouse together, and to their absolute wonder, the caterpillars they so meticulously brought back choose this exact moment to burst from their cocoons and transform into butterflies. The yellowish-green wings unfold piece by piece, with their tails looking delicate and slender, which happens to be the exact Isabel butterfly they trekked across endless mountains to find. Gazing at this spirit breaking free from its cocoon, a warm gleam of tears wells up in Julian's eyes. Sometimes, the things we desperately chase after are not located in some untouchable distant place, but rather inside the tiny moments we completely fail to notice. The greatest happiness in life is possessing the capability to perceive tiny bits of beauty, without needing to obsess over unfulfilled regrets or stress over far-off destinations we have yet to reach. Cherish the sunshine on your shoulders. Cherish the grass beneath your feet. Cherish the flowers and companionship by your side. Bravely express the love in your heart and embrace every single ordinary moment with all your soul. The healing and strength gifted by nature, along with those within reach bits of tiny happiness, are the ultimate and most precious Isabel in our lives.